I finished up with the Cahokia Mounds at around 1 p.m. and by that time I was pretty tired and thought I'd head back to my room for a little afternoon nap. I wasn't sure if I dared, but I did fire up the GPS again and see if I can get me back to my starting point. Well, instead of routing me back through I-70, it suggested I head north on the 255 and take the 270 over, crossing the Chain of Rocks Bridge, a very old bridge in St. Louis. It was opened in 1929. And according to Google Maps, that was a quicker way. Now, I took the screenshot at 3 a.m. in the morning, which is the same time that I am about making this recording. And so that's why it's saying it's a minute slower. But at the time, it was probably quicker. And so I took that way, and it was very scenic, and I got back just fine. So the GPS did not fail me on this occasion. After my nap, I went out for an early dinner at this place called Lion's Choice, and I snapped this picture before I went in. In my research, I found that it's a local Missouri franchise. It's 24 locations in Missouri and 2 in other states. But it's basically Arby's. It's Arby's style fast food. And I'm assuming the reason you'd eat at Lion's Choice is because you're such a hungry carnivore that this would be your obvious choice, and hence the name. But it was pretty good. I had a nice little bite here. I thought it was just as good as Arby's. One other thing I'd like to point out, you'll notice in this picture that the sky is still pretty clear. It had cleared up over the entire area, and so when I got back to St. Louis, it was still looking very nice out, and I couldn't have been more pleased. One of the unusual things I like to do on a vacation is explore where the local people are out and about, and then I go there and I just kind of wander around with them. But malls are very good places to do that. And so I punched into Google Maps to see if there was a mall nearby, and I found that there was an outlet mall in Hazelwood, which was very close to where I was. And I absolutely love outlet malls. They're a lot of fun. And so I figured I would go and check it out. Here's what it looked like outside when I arrived at 7 p.m. It's a pretty sizable mall. And of course, I'm wondering, as you may be wondering as well, where the heck is everyone? It looks open, but nobody's here. Another thing you'll notice is that it has become dark and cloudy again, and it would stay that way for the rest of my trip. I had such a nice morning and afternoon after the skies had cleared up, and it almost seemed like divine intervention. And I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but the sky getting so dark and cloudy again right before entering this mall seems now to also be a bit ominous. I wasn't prepared at all for what I was going to see inside. Now, there were at least some cars parked at the east end of the mall, and it looked like something was going on down there. So I parked my car there and I entered the mall. There was a hockey rink on that end, and it looked like there was some Little League hockey practice going on. Those are mostly little kids out there. And I thought it was pretty cool. Apparently this hockey rink is the official home of the St. Louis Blues, that is the professional St. Louis hockey team. And so there's life on this end. But then I started walking around and having a look at the rest of the mall, and I was a bit shocked. And so this is what I was seeing. The mall is open. It has kind of a fairy tale Disneyland appearance to it, and yet the mall is completely abandoned. What the heck is going on here? So I get down to the far end, and there's a little life. There's a little life here. There's 2 stores open and a church. But the 2 stores are on their last leg. They are closing. As you can see from that sign, they are liquidating their furniture and their mattresses, and so that's going to be it for them. So at this point, I'm still puzzled. And I left the mall, scratching my head and still wondering what happened to this mall. So I get back to my room and I immediately do some internet research. I'm very curious to learn what happened to this mall. And I learned that the Hazelwood Outlet Mall is officially closing. It had just barely been announced, and I got to take one of the last walks through it. The owners are selling it, and currently they are planning to develop it into some kind of sports complex. What I was mostly interested in is why the mall failed. It cost $250 million in 2003 to build it, and apparently it got off to a really good start. It was a popular place to go. But then slowly over time, it died the mall's death. And in my search, I could not find one definitive reason as to why the mall failed. There was certainly no shortage of theories out there. One theory I found was that the mall was too long. People didn't like walking from one end to the other. It's too much exercise. Another theory is that Hazelwood was too far out of the way for people. Many thought the recession beginning in 2008 was to blame. So I don't know. I don't know why it failed, and I don't know if anybody knows, or if there's even one specific reason for it. But one thing is certain. It's a reality of the world we live in that it is a very difficult time for malls. There are many malls all over the country that are closing for probably many of the same reasons that the Hazelwood Mall has closed. That'll do it for part 2. That was kind of a sad way to end the day, but it was very amusing to say the least. For a mall lover like me, I'm glad I got to see the Hazelwood Mall one last time before it closed. Now tomorrow, I am going to see the Arch. One way or another, I'm going to get there this time. So, wish me luck, and thanks for watching.